Coronavirus on campus. As the number of new cases continue to rise, so do the number of potential clusters. We'll have the details.
Cutting back, what student employees in one department are facing mid-semester.
And fall fatigue. One break, 45 days of classes. How a nearly non-stop semester has affected the ELN community.
Today, October 22nd, 2020.
This is ELN Morning.
Good morning and welcome to ELN Morning. I'm Maeve Ashbrook.
And I'm Jack Norcross. We begin with new information. We're getting right into our newsroom at this hour. The university is requiring all members of Sigma 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 sorority and Zeta Beta Tau fraternity to get tested for the coronavirus after the chapters were identified at what the school is calling emerging clusters. Now, we're just getting this information that emerging clusters, they begin identifying emerging clusters when there are at least 3 cases. Now, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says 5 or more linked cases within 14 days is considered to be a cluster. Members of both Greek organizations were notified via email by Associate Director of Student Involvement Jordan King. ZBT will be tested today at the expense of the university, and members of the Tri Sigma sorority must be tested by tomorrow. King did not respond to ELN News Network's immediate request for comment, but we did get that information just into our newsroom at this hour.
Also reported this week 2 coronavirus clusters in freshman residence halls. Those are in Carolina Residence Hall and Barney Residence Hall. Taylor Lopez and Lily Pinkham live in Carolina on the 3rd floor, where they say the cluster broke out. The 2 say they tested negative for the virus after the school offered them tests following the outbreak. Lopez and Pinkham say the hall is quiet now, but that wasn't the case at first.
It's kind of like inevitable. We thought someone would get it, but just not a whole bunch of people.
I feel like in the beginning we were all kind of nervous about it, but now we're all fine. We haven't really thought about it.
It's more relaxed now.
Yeah, it's relaxed.
Just across the way from Carolina, Sean Dimmick lives in Barney Residence Hall. He says the cluster there was on the 2nd floor. Dimmick lives on the 1st floor of the building and says he decided not to get tested because he hadn't recently come in contact with anyone on the 2nd floor.
I thought it was a little concerning at first because usually people in the same building are more likely to kind of intermingle and probably transmit it. So it was a little scary when they sort of told us that there was a big cluster here.
Barney Residence Hall is suite-style living, so 2 bathrooms are shared by 8 students in each suite. Carolina, however, is hall-style living, meaning everyone on one floor shares a set of bathrooms, which students have been assigned to help cut down shared spaces. A cluster was also reported in East Neighborhood Building A, another freshman residence hall with hall-style bathrooms, last week.
We're learning more this morning about students quarantined in hotels. ELN News Network has confirmed with a hotel employee that students are spending quarantine and isolation 15 minutes away from campus at the Hampton Inn Greensboro East in McLeansville. General Manager of the hotel, Samantha McHale, declined ENN's request for comment.
With the end of on-campus instruction just under 5 weeks away, many are planning to travel back home for the holidays. Even though traveling during this time is raising many concerns, new studies show the risks may not be as great as we think. When booking your flight home, University physician Jeanette Archnell says to try booking a direct flight with a window seat so you are not in constant contact with people going up and down the aisle. But air travel is relatively safe, according to a study done by the Department of Defense in partnership with United Airlines. The risk of infected particles entering your space on board an aircraft is extremely unlikely, with a 0.003% chance. The International Air Transport Association found that since the start of 2020, out of 1.2 billion travelers, only 44 cases of COVID-19 have been tied back to air travel. Archnell says even though the risk is low, you still need to be cautious.
Plane flight itself is probably, based on everything I've read over the last 2 months, the safest part of a trip home.
While you're less likely to contract the virus on a plane, that doesn't mean you're not at risk while at the airport or even driving to one. If you need to use a rideshare to the airport, Dr. Archnell recommends staying physically distanced in the car.
If a friend drives you in your car, then the two of you shouldn't be sitting next to each other in the front seat. One should be driving and one should be in the back seat in the opposite corner, both of you masked, so you're still physically distancing. These are not things we do automatically, but it's stuff that really makes a difference in reducing transmission.
Archnell says she is holding off on travel to not risk getting seriously ill or risk infecting somebody close to her.
Student employees at the Office of Financial Aid are being forced to cut back their hours in the middle of the semester. I spoke with students who are trying to adjust to the change. Elon Jr.'s Emily Sledge and Nina Croco have both worked as office assistants in the Office of Financial Aid for over a year.
They've been great up to this point, and I love working there.
But late on the afternoon of Friday, October 2nd, 7 students working in the office received an email stating hours would be cut during the month of October, with workers furloughed beginning November 1st.
There was no indication that our hours were going to be cut.
I was shocked. I immediately got up and went to my roommate and said, oh my gosh, my hours are cut because it's already difficult. We make $9 an hour after tax. It's not that much money.
Director of Financial Aid Patrick Murphy declined an interview with Elon News Network, but said the cuts were made due to budgeting. Sledge says she went from working 12 to 3 hours in the office. She's starting to make tough choices as she needs to pay for utilities and food, despite having a second job at the writing center.
With the pay cut, I've really had to start thinking about where I spend my money, and then I really have to talk to myself about what is necessary and what is not necessary.
Sledge says she's even having to rethink her future plans.
If I want to go and fly and see my boyfriend, that's not happening anymore because I can't really afford to buy plane tickets.
At the end of the day, Croco wishes there is better communication to the student workers.
I would have appreciated if they had talked to all of us and seen maybe who needs those hours the most, just because I think it would have been respectful. It can be super important for some students that, that income can be super important.
The Office of Financial Aid says they hope to have the students back in the winter and spring, a busier time for the office. And coming up, students once again requesting for the option of pass-fail. We'll have the details. ELN Morning is back in 60 seconds.
With about 4 weeks left in the fall semester, students are feeling the strain of Elon's decision to cancel fall break and shorten Thanksgiving break, which usually break up the middle and end of the fall semester. Courtney Weiner has more.
Elon Jr. Briston Witt says she originally liked the idea of ending classes before Thanksgiving, but that excitement quickly changed.
When you're drained and when you don't have anything left to give, it becomes more taxing to be here than it does rejuvenating and exciting and oh, this is the best 4 years of your life. This has been the worst semester of my life,
Psychology professor Balil Gandor says he understands the benefit of finishing the semester early, but it does come with some problems.
Time goes by slower, so things feel much heavier, things feel longer because it's not your typical routine. So a semester, although shorter, may feel much longer.
Witt says this time of year is when students start to have more projects and less time. She says she spent the one day off in October doing homework.
I think the hardest part is just looking at all of that and trying to think about where do I rest? Trying to figure out when can I take a break?
At Witt's lowest point this semester, she says she didn't even want to be around her friends. Gandor says the uncertainty of the coronavirus pandemic is the biggest concern for mental health of all.
It's okay if you need to miss class because your health is very important. Go seek counseling if it provides you with a relief for a month, a few weeks. Do something and put your mental health above anything else.
Witt is taking the rest of the semester day by day and is looking forward to the finish line.
Jumping for joy is an understatement, okay?
Courtney Weiner, ELN Morning.
If you need mental health support, you can schedule an appointment with counseling services at 336-278-7280.
Over 700 students have signed a petition calling on the administration to establish a pass-fail option for the fall semester. The petition outlines how COVID-19 has affected the learning process for many undergraduate students due to being in quarantine or testing positive for the virus. Elon senior Megan Noor signed the petition and says this pass-fail option is a reasonable compromise given the circumstances of the semester.
It really feels like the university is kind of gaslighting us and telling us that this is a normal semester, that we should just, be able to, pull ourselves up by the bootstraps or whatever and go through it like it's a normal semester when it's not. We're all going through this really incredible trauma.
Noor says she has raised these concerns to the administration for months and hopes they can do, quote, the bare minimum by establishing this pass-fail option. The university's academic council has yet to announce whether or not a pass-fail option will be offered to students this semester, and the provost was not available for immediate comment late this morning.
We have a warm weekend ahead of us, so stay tuned for your Phoenix 5-day forecast.
Live with your Phoenix 5-day forecast, Ashlyn.
Good morning, Maeve. We had a warm day here at ELN yesterday, and that is going to continue into today. Partly sunny skies are in the forecast with a temperature reaching a high of 77 and a low of 59. Let's take a look at that Phoenix 5-day forecast. We have a beautiful weekend ahead of us with those temperatures averaging in the high 70s and low 50s. There is a slight chance of rain on Saturday afternoon, so be sure to have an umbrella nearby you for that. But as we move it back into Monday and Tuesday, again, partly sunny skies are in the forecast. So just when you thought those warm ELN days were gone, they are most certainly here to stay as we move into next week. Maeve, back to you.
Yes.
Start it, check.
I cannot, Ashlyn, thank you so much. I just couldn't believe how nice it was outside today. It was just beautiful walking over here.
Especially Monday. Like I said on our Monday show, it was so cold in the morning, but I didn't even need a jacket. I wore my dress. I was totally fine outside. It's gorgeous.
It's really not starting to feel like that fall temperatures that we're used to. So that's certainly for sure.
Oh, I think it's fall.
I don't know.
Nice.
But it's just so warm in the evenings, and
I guess that's true.
I just want to be camped out around a fire with a nice jacket on. So.
All right.
So that's everything. Well, that's all the news we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
For all the news you need to know when we're not on the air, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com, and follow us on social media at Elon News Network.
Have a great day, Elon.